Hi, fourth graders. I am back in my house. It's nighttime. All day at the classroom, I say, I'm going to record these stories for the kids and put them on, and then I never get them done, and I do them at night when things are calming down at my house. This story, I wanted to be sure everybody got to hear it on the Wednesday before Christmas. It is my favorite story to read before Christmas. It's called Great Joy. It's by DiCamillo. When we do Unit 4, we're going to read one of my favorite books by DiCamillo called Because of Winn-Dixie. And you'll get to understand starting today why she is my favorite author. Great Joy. In the front of this book, it's written, it says that, see that cursive? It says, Happy Reading Christmas 2007 with great joy, Alan and Trish. That's from two of our friends. They gave us this book. The week before Christmas, a monkey appeared on the corner of 5th and Vine. He was wearing a green vest and a red hat, and with him was a man, an organ grinder, who played music for the people on the street. Now, if you look at the clothes, you can see that this is an older story. The setting is long ago, probably about 100 years ago, during one of the world wars. In the daytime, when the sun shone, the sequins on the monkey's vest glittered and flashed, and from the window of her apartment, Frances could see the tin cup he held out to the people who walked by. Sometimes, if it was very quiet for just a minute, she could hear the music. It came across the crowded sidewalk and up through the windows. And even though the organ grinder and the monkey were just across the street, the songs sounded sad and far away, like the music from a dream. You see there's Frances in her window, and then down on the corner there, she can see the man. Where do they go at night? Frances asked. Who? Said her mother. The man and his monkey. Oh, Frances, said her mother, don't ask me questions that I can't answer. I'm sure they go somewhere. Everyone goes somewhere. But where? Said Frances. I have no idea, said her mother. Turn around. Frances turned. Her mother pinned the bottom of her robe. There, said her mother. Now all I have to do is hem it, and you'll be ready. Have you memorized your line? Yes, said Frances. Are you excited about the pageant? Yes, said Frances, and she turned away from her mother and looked out the window at the monkey. Now, a Christmas pageant is a story done usually by children, sometimes by adults, to tell the story about Christmas. Sometimes it's about the star on Christmas or the wise men, or it's just the traditional Christmas story. Frances is in a Christmas pageant. That night, Frances made herself stay awake. She hummed songs and said her multiplication tables. She named the capitals of each state. St. Paul, Tallahassee, Harrisburg, one after the other. Every time she felt as if she might fall asleep, she shook her head and pinched her arm and opened her eyes wide. Finally, at midnight, Frances got out of bed and crept down the hallway to the living room. Okay, she can't sleep. Look at her. What a brave girl in the hallway at night. She looked down into the street. She saw the organ grinder, but where was the monkey? Her heart thumped, and then she saw him, tucked inside the man's overcoat, his small red hat still on. Look at me, Frances whispered. Look up here. Look at her in the glow of the window and look down here at the man and his monkey. It was the organ grinder who looked up. He took his cap from his head and he raised it to her. I love this illustration. Look at him raising his cap in the snow. And when you look up at the window, there's Frances in the glow of the window of her flashlight, looking out in the snow at this man still on the street in the middle of the night. "They sleep on the street," Frances said the next morning, "even when it snows." "Oh, Frances," said her mother, "maybe they should come for dinner." "No, they can't come for dinner," said her mother. "Why not?" "They're strangers, that's why. Eat your breakfast, Frances. You've got a big day ahead of you." All that day it snowed, but by evening, in time for the pageant, the sky cleared. The snow was so deep that Frances had to wear her boots for the walk to church. The organ grinder and the monkey were still on their corner. Look at them. Now, I meant to point out something to you from earlier in the story, because I don't know if you noticed that it's just Frances and her mom. If you go back to this story, this page, you can see on the table is a photo of a soldier. So that just makes me kind of infer that maybe her dad is away at the war. I think it's probably a pretty good guess. Frances ran up and put a nickel in the monkey's cup. "I'm going to be in the Christmas play tonight," she said. "I get to wear wings, and I have one line to say. Do you want to hear it?" "Frances," her mother said, "we're going to be late. Let's go." "You can come," Frances said, turning back. "The play is at the church. It's just down the street. You both can come." The organ grinder smiled at her, but his eyes looked sad. At the church, everyone else was already in costume. "Hurry," the choir director said as he helped Frances put on her wings. The shepherds walked out first, and then the choir director pointed to Frances. "Now," he whispered. Look at the kids are watching. You can see the audience, and there's Frances. It's time for her to go out. Frances stood very still. She opened her mouth, but the words would not come. "Say it," whispered one of the shepherds. "Say it," hissed an angel who did not have any lines of her own. The camel, which was really two people, swayed nervously back and forth, but Frances could not speak. All she could think about was how cold it was outside and how sad the organ grinder's eyes were, even when he smiled. The world was quiet. Everyone waited. Then, at the back of the church sanctuary, a door opened. Frances smiled. "Behold," she shouted, "I bring you tidings of great joy." And because the words felt so right, Frances said them again. Great joy. And I love this last picture. It's all the people celebrating together, the camel. There's Frances with the monkey, and here's the man visiting with the mom. And he's out of the cold. Do you see why I love that story? Because this little girl cared so much, and she spoke to somebody who needed her. So all this month, we've been working on showing each other ways we care at home and going out of the way. Don't stop now. There's just a few days till Christmas, and the calendar goes till the end of December. So make it a month of great joy in everything you do.